Good morning. Today's speech is about, should we have teachers armed in the school system? When we send our kids to school, the last thing we want to think about is our kids being injured or having bodily harm, or not returning back the way we sent them. Is there anything you want to hear? Is there anything that anyone can tell you about your child being injured that you want to hear? The answer is no. Does any parent want to hear any excuse? No. The last thing we want is our child to return back to us not the way we sent them. So picture this. A gunman comes into the school. He's there to do bodily harm. He's there to harm your child. He's there with bad intentions. Shots are fired. The screams ring out. Everyone's going crazy. People are running all over the place. The teacher is on the phone with 911, I'm sure, if she's a good teacher, as anyone would. At the same time, the 911 officers are asking questions. Description, how does it look? How many shooters? Things like that, if they are doing their job correctly. As they're answering the questions, they ask you, can you get to safety? The answer should be yes. You gather your children, you run. Here's the thing. They tell you to run, fight, and hide, or hide, then fight. My question to you is, fight with what? The teacher bravely makes it to the location and they're inside, they're hiding. They're waiting for the cavalry. The killer is persistent. He spotted them running to this room. He's kicking the door. He's trying to get in. He's begging. He's letting off rounds. Kids are screaming. They're going crazy. As soon as you turn your head and turn back around, the gunman is in. The run, hide, the fight plan has led you to this point, and now you're engaged and you're facing the gunman head on. With a dozen kids behind you, by the way. I'll tell you what. At this point, when the gun is raised, here's your weapon of choice. A pen, pencil, a chair, hopefully a fire extinguisher, anything of that nature. It's pretty much safe to say that it's pretty much in the gunman are in his favor at this point. This way of thinking I call the sit and duck plan. The sit and duck method it has victim written all over it. Would it be better to have teachers run and get to a location where there's a firearm on person, or a location where there's a firearm? Would that heighten the chance of survival, you think? I think so, because the key is to lower the casualty rate. That's what we're talking about. While waiting for the cavalry to arrive, okay? I am not asking teachers by no means to become Rambo. I'm not asking teachers to become the next Sarah Connor. I'm simply saying to lower the casualty rate by any means in these safe locations. We're trying to lower the death rate. In 2013, there was over 200 attacks on schools, and the problem seems to be getting worse. An estimated 4.6 million Americans, children, live in a home where there is a gun present and they have access to it. Loaded, by the way, and improperly stored. That means that these kids have access to weapons and they're planning. So the numbers are alarming by this point. It's easily accessible to gain a weapon. So I say, why not do the same? Let's arm our teachers, because we need to have them prepared. At this point, the best way to stop an offense is to engage in offense. That's the best defense. When the United States is threatened, or attacked is imminent, we have a thing called DEFCON, 1, 2, 3, and then we respond to that. The numbers show that people causing and shootings in schools are preparing for a war. Our loved ones are at war, believe it or not. And school shooting study shows that the Secret Service Department of Education found that 93% of shooters plan an attack in advance. Last time I checked, 93% is almost 100, and it's getting higher, believe it or not. And this was an article from Sandy Hook Promise, and although the website promotes to shine light on the situation, they offer no solutions about anything other than what we already been doing, and the numbers are climbing at an alarming rate, by the way. Are people in denial? Absolutely not. We're sending our kids to school basically for target practice, in my theory. If 911 was the best solution, the numbers would be lower and not growing. We do need first response present, but it should be the teachers. So in conclusion, you have heard all the data. You can now see that the run, hide, and then the fight method is old, and it's time for some pushback. It's time to let these shooters know that the days of running is over. The sitting duck method is over. That they will be met at the forefront with resistance. Not a 1 or 2 hour later response from 911 after the damage is already done. Let's not forget, some teachers are already carrying firearms in schools in certain cities. They understand that a slow response is not what we need, especially after the damage is already done. So we are talking about lowering the death rate, giving our family a fighting chance to see our loved ones once again. I read an article that said when the 9/11 attacks happen, will it ever happen again? And the answer was like, no, because they realized that the people was involved, that we realized that once we are engaged with terror, we are now not waiting for the cavalry anymore. We are going to respond with equal violence. So we get it, and we understand that survival is what we're talking about here, and not waiting for the cavalry to arrive 2 hours later. Now, it did not cause the survival of the people in the last plane. We get that, we understand, but the initial target was not carried out. They failed. So we understand that guns are dangerous and in the wrong hands can cause serious problems. And we want our teachers to be safe as well as our kids. But believe it or not, they are there to protect our child as much as they are to teach them. So I'll leave you with this. You can get a phone call saying, I regret to inform you that there's been an accident. Or you can take your chance with arming teachers and hear the greatest sound that any parent would love to hear, which is, Mommy, Daddy, I'm home.